Disclaimer. The following is a parody of CinemaSin's Everything Wrong With series. If you're unfamiliar with their humor, I suggest you go watch their content first. The intent of this video is for comedy and entertainment purposes only. With this in mind, it's also worth mentioning that the sentiments of the creator of this video towards the game in question will not interfere with the content of the video itself. That being said, the creator of this video means no offense to the creators of the game in question, the game in question itself, the game's franchise, or the people who like the game in question. Without further ado, thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoy.
Where are we exactly? I asked because someone, presumably Tails, clearly had to tell Sonic to go to a specific location where the birthday party was being held, but there doesn't seem to be anything that sticks out so that Sonic could arrive. Did they just tell him, "Hey Sonic, I need you to go to the woods and look for the rest of our friends under a tree. Don't ask what we're doing there on a day that's obviously your birthday, just get there."
He'll be here any second!
That being said, maybe Sonic followed Tails. In that case, Tails saying that Sonic would arrive any second is cheating regarding the fact he knows he's following him. And if Sonic weren't following him, Tails most certainly would not beat him in a foot race. That Sonic Adventure shit, we were all cheating, taking shortcuts Sonic couldn't take.
Surprise!
Cake with the Sonic Team logo without any candles or any indication of how old Sonic is today. I don't think even Sonic's friends know how old he is. Also, missed opportunity, Sega. You totally could have had Rouge come out of a big-ass cake a la Marilyn Monroe and finally give the fans the furry lap dance some of them want. Assuming Sonic turns 20, that would be the ideal present. Assuming he turns 16, that would still be the ideal present. This is the only other instance we ever see Knuckles interact with Rouge in the main series after Heroes. Oddly enough, not fighting over the Master Emerald. Speaking of which, what the fuck are you doing here, Knuckles? Did you just forget about guarding it, or do you just not care anymore? Wait, Rush is canon?
It's kind of impossible to surprise you.
You totally got me this time. I had no idea.
Can't tell if telling the truth or sarcasm. Also, it took you this long to figure out you could just do that to Amy?
Yeah, right. Happy birthday, Sonic. Hope you like this.
Tails, an 8-year-old fox that has designed and created tons of weapons and machines that have been useful in the past, gives Sonic a chili dog as a present on his birthday, which he can literally have any other day. Can't tell if Tails is just stingy or a bad friend. Any particular reason Sonic didn't get sucked in but the rest of his friends did? I mean, I know that that's the plan and all, but they all got sucked in at the same time and Sonic took it like a champ. Was the vacuum just selective? You can't tell me it was powerful enough to suck in Vector and not Sonic.
What the? Why are the colors inverted on the disclaimer? There we go. Alrighty, what everything wrong with are we doing today? Sonic Generations. Didn't I do that one already? Well, I haven't done the 3DS version, but this is clearly the HD one. Maybe I didn't? Oh, I must be making a remake ahead of Sonic X Shadow Generations. Okay, cool. I love this game. Nah, see, cause like, it's in 2.5D in this one. It's for the 20th anniversary. Totally different.
He'll be here any second.
Tails, why didn't you have everyone set things up before you contacted Sonic? Also, you saying that he'll be here any second is a hell of an understatement when he's right behind you.
You having a party or something?
Is it me, or does that not sound like Kate Higgins' Tails? That's weird. Whoa! Are those Chow? I don't remember any other Chow than Cheese being at Sonic's birthday party. Right? Speaking of the birthday party, how old is Sonic turning exactly? Because all we have is a cake with the Sonic Team logo on it with no candles or anything that would give us any indication of how old he is today. No banners, no Sweet 16 birthday balloons, nothing. You know, in Frontiers, Knuckles mentions that he envies Sonic's lifestyle, getting to do whatever and go wherever he wants, and yet here he is, living it up, hot dog in hand, with the person who, I think it's important to remind everyone, constantly tries to steal the one thing tethering him to his otherwise extinct race of people and the island he literally lives on. Which, by the way, why the f*** aren't you on? Who's protecting the Master Emerald right now?
You.
Wait, why does this look weird? Wasn't Sonic, like, pushing Amy away in this scene?
Hope you like this.
I'm not crazy, right? This is something that's never made sense to me. Why doesn't Sonic get sucked into white space the same way his friends do? He's able to jump and try to homing attack the Time Eater just fine, and the Time Eater almost purposefully leaves him alone. How did that factor into Eggman's plan?
Hey! Those are my friends!
Okay, he definitely does not say that. How could I ever forget him saying not cool to a random monster that showed up to crash his birthday party? What's happening? And speaking of what's happening, what's going on with the portal to Chemical Plant? Why doesn't it have the same glowy aura that the rest of the portals do?
Help us!
That's weird. The disclaimer's inverted. There we go. Huh? Why are there already sins on the GameSyn counter? And the timer is frozen. Oh, he must have already started covering Sonic Generations. I guess covering Shadow Generations is on me for now. Makes sense, I suppose, dividing it between us.
Shadow the Hedgehog, the lone dark warrior who judges the world by his own code. The past will return to haunt him.
His past will return to haunt him? Again? Didn't his past return to haunt him 20 years ago? Jesus, Shadow the Hedgehog was 20 years ago.
Shadow, this is Rouge.
So, wait, Shadow has a tiny little earpiece that we can't even see that he uses to communicate, but Rouge needs a giant-ass brick radio from the 70s? Where does she even keep that thing?
Are you still aboard the Ark?
Yes, I arrived at the space colony an hour ago.
Well, you're missing the birthday party.
No he's not. It looks like you guys are still only just setting up.
Told you. Gun detected an unusual biosignature aboard the Ark.
Whoa, hold on. Alright, I wasn't sure if I should even bring this up, but the PlayStation versions of this game exclusively include Dark Beginnings, a set of 3 prologue animations made to set up the events of Shadow Generations, which by itself I think is stupid. Don't get me wrong, I love that they included it in the game. If you're going to make supplemental transmedia material that adds context to your narrative, the very least you could do is include it in your product, which is something they haven't done in the past. And yes, I know you can just look it up online, but at some point people may not even be aware Dark Beginnings exists when they get into this game, and while again, I'm glad they bundled it with some versions of the game, I don't understand why the exclusivity with PlayStation. All versions of the game should have had the episodes bundled. And in fact, it's even worse than that, because not only was PlayStation the only platform that got the episodes, but it got a bonus post-credit scene that we were otherwise never shown in an official capacity, alongside animatics with extended segments. But here's my main point in bringing this up. In the game, Shadow says that he's aboard the Ark because Gun detected that something was living up here, implying that he's here on a mission, which straight up isn't true in Dark Beginnings. In the animation, the reason he goes to the Ark is because he has a nightmare and senses that Black Doom may have returned, and in fact, tells Rouge about this suspicion in the second episode, which is why she helps him raid a gun base to steal a rocket. Never mind the fact that that's stupid and he should have just asked Gun if they could help him get to the Ark, something that even the commander says he would have done. Which is it then? Are you here because of what you sensed, or are you here because of what Gun detected? Because you hightailed it out of there before Gun was even able to establish a communication with you. So why is the animation, which was specifically made to lead into the events of this game, not consistent with the events of this game? And in any case, you don't need to explain to Rouge why you're up there. She knows why you're up there. Or she should anyway. So wait, Shadow started inside the Ark, saw the spatial anomaly, chased it outside the Ark, only to find it back inside the Ark? So, this game never really explains how it is that Black Doom survived, but Dark Beginnings kind of does, which is another reason it's so stupid that the episodes are locked behind an exclusivity deal. Before the raid on the Ark, Black Doom left a Death Leech, presumably for Gerald to study and take DNA samples from. In the bonus ending, which we were officially shown once all the episodes were released, we see a fully formed Black Doom awakening on the Ark, who we can reasonably assume grew from the Death Leech. The game never really explains it though. Doom's eye is just kind of here for some reason. Not to mention, even if we're to believe the events of Dark Beginnings, it makes no sense why Black Doom would have been reborn on the Ark. You're telling me that after Gun raided the Ark, shut down Project Shadow, killed a bunch of people, and took all the archives back to Earth, they somehow missed a black arms larva that wasn't even all that hidden in the first place? How is that remotely possible? I'm not against the how Black Doom was reborn, I'm more in disbelief as to the where.
The fake Chaos Emerald Tails made to foil the Doctor's plans.
Wait, this was left up here too? So, after the events of Adventure 2, they just decided to leave the fake Chaos Emerald on the Ark? Tails didn't think it would come in handy again, or use it to fuel any of his machines? So, why exactly do Shadow and everyone that appears in his story not get frozen in limbo like everyone that was at Sonic's birthday party? Is it because they're not tied to the locations they're found near? Well, if that's the case, what are they doing here at all? So, I don't know if some materials or the rendering got messed up or what, but certain assets of white space in this cutscene still have color in them, like the stems on the sunflowers in Green Hill and some yellow on the tanks and chemical plant. I hadn't even noticed that until just now. No, see, it's different because it's with the boost formula, so it's totally different.
Thanks, Sonic. That was awful. I couldn't tell where I was or what had happened. Ugh, like I was trapped in a nightmare.
Well, you're safe now, and that's what's important.
Whoa, what? Sonic 100% did not talk after rescuing Tails. There's no way this is the Sonic generations I know.
Is it just me, or does Green Hill look different?
Okay, I honestly can't tell if that's a dumber line than Green Hill's looking a lot more like Sand Hill right now. Of course it looks different, you dumbass. It's all white. And you didn't make a Green Hill's looking a lot more like White Hill right now reference? At least that would have made sense. Actually, would it be a reference if it's referencing something that hasn't happened yet? Oh, whatever, that's not the point!
Looks familiar, but I can't be sure.
Well, that's as good a lead as any, Tails. Back in a flash.
Wow, that was crazy, Sonic. You weren't kidding. It's like you never left.
Yes, he did leave. You clearly saw it happen.
I didn't realize that if you just switched to Classic Sonic in White Space before the first boss, Classic Tail is just here in front of Green Hill. I always thought he just kind of came out of nowhere in this story, but this is kind of worse. Did I just send a portion of the gameplay?
Hurry! I must resume my hunt and destroy Dr. Eggman!
Dude, Omega, what's the rush? We have plenty of time, considering there is no time. So why the hell do we temporarily get Doomwing here? At no other point do we temporarily receive a Doom power, and we're about to get Doom Spears right after this, so what was the point? To give Shadow a taste of the power? It doesn't matter because it's about to be taken from us and another one given to us in its place. He would have had a taste of the Doom power soon anyway.
Aerial anomaly detected. Preliminary Black Arms research indicates it is called Black Moon.
Preliminary Black Arms research? From where? Gun's database? How would they have known about the Black Moon? I doubt they've ever been in the presence of one before. They didn't even seem to really know much about the Black Arms and Shadow the Hedgehog in the first place. Is that Kingdom Hearts 4? Okay, I know for a fact that you couldn't collect any Chao in the original generations. That can only mean one thing. I'm playing the remaster without ever having covered the 3DS version, and why the hell would I have done that? I wouldn't have. And in any case, I would have started the video with Shadow Generations because as we all know from the trailers, Space Colony Arc happens before the Time Meter does anything. It just makes sense from a linear story perspective. No, see, it's different because it's Radical Highway but set during the day. It's radically different.
You saved me, Sonic. I'll be sure to return the favor next time around.
Yeah, next time around won't be for another 11 years, Amy. Hold on tight. Oh, you poor bastard. Demoted from tutorial bot to menu tutorial bot to race announcer to just straight up shopkeeper. I mean, technically you are still a tutorial bot in this game, but who pays attention to you or keeps you activated in game?
Oh, hello, Shadow.
Please don't smash us to bits!
Does Shadow even know you guys? You have to remember, Warbot and Cubot just made their debut in the previous game, and only Sonic and Tails were there to meet them. I'm not surprised that they know who Shadow is, but unless he met them off-screen at some point between Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic Colors, this has to be the first time Shadow's meeting them, right? There are certain pre-rendered cutscenes, namely the ones where Shadow receives his Doom powers and the one after defeating the final boss, that were likely rendered in the wrong pixel aspect ratio and then stretched in the final game. In fact, I didn't realize this at the time, but Frontiers is a cutscene where that happened too. This is what it looks like in the game, but I'm almost certain that this is what it's supposed to look like. This might be a nitpick, but I don't understand why the challenge gates only appear after I make it to the boss gate. At least in Sonic Generations, the challenge gates appeared after completing all the acts in a given era and are all bunched pretty close to each other, but here, I have to make my way to the boss gate to activate the challenge gates, which I need to complete to get the boss keys, and then make my way back to the boss gate to fight the era's boss. This first one isn't so bad, but the other two really make me wonder why it was designed this way.
You know what I think is so funny? I really appreciate all the signs warning us about the bottomless pit so that we can know where to be more careful, but I have to wonder if those warning signs are diegetic. Like, can Sonic see them too? Are they actually there? Because things like the hint bubbles and button prompts and stuff, you can assume are just part of the game, but the warning signs move with the stage. Can you imagine the ancient Echidna tribe just adding all these bright neon orange signs of a random hedgehog around their sanctuary? I don't know about you, but I think that's hilarious. Man, that's a really long sin. Putting the subtitles for that one together is going to be a pain.
Thanks, Sonic. Now then, tell me, where is the rest of my island?
Did you eat the fucking island? Wait, that's not what Knuckles says to Classic Sonic. Doesn't he ask if Sonic gained weight or something? Yeah, that's the only way that animation makes sense.
It's a race to the finish.
Tails? You left. Why did you pop back in for a couple of frames?
Wait, you can still meet Classic Tails before the post-first boss cutscene too. Classic Tails is required to beat Sonic's very first Chemical Plant Act 1 challenge, and you can play any of the challenge gates after rescuing Tails, Amy, and Knuckles. I guess the game just doesn't care that Classic Tails was saved at all. Which begs the question, why is Tails the only other classic version of Sonic's friends to appear in this game? In Green Hill Act 1's third challenge, Classic Sonic races against modern Knuckles, but there is a Classic Knuckles. Is the Classic Sonic in this game from a time before he met Classic Knuckles? We do see that Classic Sonic was in Green Hill when the Time Eater sent everyone to White Space, and in the script that I remember, Sonic didn't even remember Green Hill, meaning that he probably wasn't all too familiar with the location, which probably means that this is the Sonic from the very first game. But then Classic Tails shows up, and we can guess that they're at least familiar with each other, and in any case, I would think that that shouldn't matter if Sonic can visit a location from a game that Classic Knuckles is in, meaning that there's no reason he shouldn't be here too. Also, that icon is of modern Tails, not Classic Tails. If you're going to make a distinction, you can at least be consistent with it. What the hell happened there? Okay, I don't get it. Can Metal Sonic talk or can't he? Sometimes he only beeps and boops, usually he can only gesture, but here it's a full-on sentence. And to further my earlier point, there is a classic Metal Sonic in the area where you rescue Amy, but no classic Amy either. What are the rules, damn it? Huh, I like that. Casino Night Zone? I'd love Sonic 2, but why did it get 2 levels and CD technically got none? I mean, I guess this doesn't fully count as a level, but also, I didn't pre-order this game, and I know for sure I don't have the PC version, so I couldn't have bought it. What's going on?
So, fun fact, this cutscene doesn't play on the original PC version of the game, which is what I must be playing, so the only reasonable explanation is that I'm playing with mods on, which explains why my Sonic has a Sonic Adventure skin on alongside all the other weird changes I don't remember from this game. I don't know why I didn't turn them off before recording, but here we are, I guess. But why would I download a mod that changes the dialogue in the cutscenes?
I know he notices something, but has Sonic never seen his reflection before?
Another Sonic? What?
To be fair, there's a new Sonic every anniversary title. Adventure 2 had Shadow and 06 had Silver. Aren't you used to imposters by now?
Well, okay, but neither of them ever claimed to be Sonic. People stupidly mistook Shadow for him in Adventure 2, and only Amy and Elise thought Silver looked like him in 06. I'd hardly call either of them being an imposter.
Okay, that's how I know you're not me. You're thinking about this way too much.
You're nitpicking.
It's an everything wrong with parody.
Pastiche.
Gazoon-tight.
You did not just make a fucking Gazoon-tight joke. We're better than that. You're too slow. You have the boost, you dumbass. Why didn't you just use that? Dude, not now.
Isn't the Death Egg supposed to explode by now? Speaking of the Death Egg, back in my day, that bitch took like 16 hits to beat, and we had to do it with no rings. Kids these days get it too easy.
fact that it took 16 hits to beat when the Death Egg robot in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 only takes 12. Did I get that right?
Dude, you're such a virgin.
Catch me if you can!
Shouldn't be too hard considering you don't move much. What the hell is this thing in the background? It looks like a space train or something, and I have no idea what it's a reference to.
Is it a Sonic Colors reference? Something that's part of the Interstellar Amusement Park?
I don't think so, and that wouldn't make sense anyway because there would be no reason for any of his Interstellar Amusement Park machines to be here. Sonic survives this.
Huh. Couldn't have done it better myself.
Well, first of all, yes you could have. Second of all, that was yourself.
Older versions of us. Places and enemies from our past. We're traveling through time, Sonic!
Without the time stones?
What? A reference to the Time Stones?
Classic Ian. Huh? So, this wasn't written by Pontac and Graff. Ever since the mainline game that came out before this one, the writer for the dialogue has been Ian Flynn.
The guy that writes for the comics?
The very same.
Wow. Seems like a lot's changed since Lost World.
Yeah. It sure has.
So question.
Yeah.
In the future, is it ever explained why Classic Tails can talk but Classic Sonic doesn't?
Nope.
It's like that big thing that kidnapped Eggman can consume time.
Wait, how did Tails know that Eggman got kidnapped? Classic Sonic just came back from that fight. Could they see what happened? How?
Yeah, it's not like Classic Sonic could have told him what just happened. He can't talk. You know, despite being able to say that one line in Sonic CD.
Well, and Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Cars, Sega Sonic Popcorn Shop, Sega Sonic Cosmo Fighter, Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, and Sonic Schoolhouse.
Why do you know that?
You don't?
There it is!
And that did...
Yeah, why did it even show up?
You think those will stop me?
I can't help but feel like those two lines are meant to be reversed. He acknowledges that the arms were there first, like he was expecting it to happen, but then reacts to what just happened?
Black Doom, I destroyed you once. I will do it again.
Dude, did you just attack the fucking hologram? You know he wasn't there, you saw the thing forming!
More easily now.
You couldn't cross it at all. The second you dip your toe in the water, you drown. That's some Rise of Lyric-ass water. Also, why is there water in a place where there's supposed to be nothing?
Half the names on the poster are misspelled. It includes gems such as Emmy Rose, Shadow the Hedgehog, Omga, Storm the Albatross, Woof the Swallow, and Silver the Hedgehog. How did you mess that last one up? You spelled it correctly 2 other times.
Thank you, Mr. Sonic. Oh, did you get a new haircut?
Cream, who is 2 years younger than Tails and probably has half his intellect, is able to tell the difference between Sonic's classic and modern right away.
Is that f***ing Big the Cat?
Ah, dude, you scared me.
Sorry.
Don't you normally just yell his name from afar?
Well, typically, yeah, but we're in a place where there's no space. My voice wouldn't have traveled far enough for you to hear me.
Oh.
Have you seen
yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, what's Big doing here?
You got me. I'm not even sure these two know each other. They were briefly near each other during Heroes, but this is the first time they've ever interacted.
Have you seen my good buddy, Froggy?
You?
He lost the f***ing frog again.
Mm-hmm, he sure did.
How does that keep happening?
It shouldn't. If Cream and Cheese can get sent to White Space as a unit, why do Big and Froggy get separated?
Oh, hello. Your name's Shadow, isn't it? Have you seen my good buddy Froggy? No? That's too bad. He ran off again, so I went looking for him. Somehow I wound up here.
Oh. So that happened before you were sent here.
So you just lost the fucking frog again. 20 years, Big! You've been losing the frog for 20 years! Maybe you should take the hint!
I'm sorry, what are you doing?
What? I'm just going backwards in the level while on a board. It's basically a Sonic staple by now.
Thanks, Big Blue. That's the first time I've ever been stolen.
Big Blue? Oh, come on, don't tell me Chronicles is canon too.
It's not, but hey, make sure that in the future, well, your future, you spell the word canon correctly. You get heavily corrected about that in this video.
What do you mean? How are you supposed to spell it?
CANON refers to well-established rules and/or laws, typically used to define the events that are known to happen in the main continuity of a fictional work that affect the rest of the saga. CANNON is a big-ass gun.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Will do. But hey, why do you figure Rouge calls Sonic Big Blue anyway? Is there, something they aren't telling us?
It's not shit! It's not shit!
No, see, it's different, because we're in a tube now. It's more like tubular highway. Yeah, who did you think you were getting all pissed off for and saving?
Warning, Metal Overlord contains a copy of your life form data. He can also perform chaos control and neutralize your power. I recommend you attack directly and quickly.
Wait, how does Omega know what the next boss we're going to fight is? We're not even supposed to know what the next boss is yet. I haven't even been to the gate. And Omega hasn't moved an inch, so I know he hasn't been there either.
Okay, so we're pretty sure we've figured things out. And it's pretty dire. Ah! That thing keeps jumping back and forth through time, consuming the dimensional energy. And all that's left behind is this lifeless white void.
Is that why it keeps showing up here and leaving? Because otherwise, I don't understand why it's doing that.
Then I guess we have to run like there's no tomorrow, or there won't be a tomorrow.
I mean, technically there isn't even a today right now. I get why Rouge can do that. She is a bat after all. But how are you doing this? You're a chameleon, and last I checked, they could camouflage, not float in the air at will. Or is it because you're a ninja? Because I've seen ninjas do some shit, but never defy gravity.
Unless, of course, you're Sly Cooper. Did you ever play the rest of that series?
Yeah, they're great. Just don't get too upset after the fourth one.
Why?
They never made a fifth one.
Oh. Well, at least we got the movie they announced earlier this year, right?
Sure thing.
Right?
It wouldn't be a Sonic game if I didn't find an unintended way to go backwards on a vehicle. Wait, how come this version of Metal Overlord gets hurt by just getting his green f***me light hit with debris? Doesn't that mean that Team Sonic could have just defeated him by having Knuckles fire dunk the shit out of Sonic and Tails at him? Why'd we have to use Team Blast so many times?
Chaos control. Ha! That power already belongs to me!
Yeah, well, it still helped me kick the hell out of you, so good job using it to your advantage! So, maybe this is just a me thing, but was anyone else disappointed with what they decided to do with this version of What I Made Of? Like, I know that some of the instrumentation was remastered and some of it was all out re-recorded, but with everything going on during the fight, it doesn't sound any different to me. And trust me, I love What I Made Of. That's why I was hoping for something, I don't know, a little different? Oh my god, is this how people feel about the Sonic Generations remaster?
I made a Faustian deal with that monster to create Shadow.
Oh my god, okay, here we go. Alright, so calling it a Faustian deal has a hell of a lot of implications, pun not intended. Faust is a character in German legend, largely thought to be based on a real-life German alchemist born in the late 1400s. That not only implies the existence of Germany in the Sonic universe, which, last I played Sonic Unleashed, didn't see one, but to make a Faustian deal specifically refers to how, in the Tale of Faust, he calls on the devil to give him all the knowledge and pleasure of the world, literally because the dude was depressed at how great his life was. And I'm not just talking any devil, I'm talking the devil, the one that went down to Georgia. Strike another one up for canonizing Christianity in the Sonic universe. But get this, the devil didn't meet with Faust, instead sending a representative by the name of Mephistopheles, a character also original to this legend. And Mephistopheles likely gets his name from the word nephitic, which pertains to noxious or poisonous gases emitted from swamps and volcanoes, a word based on the name of a Samnite goddess, the Samnites being an ancient people from south-central Italy, which, if Christianity is canon to Sonic, oh boy does this have implications that we can't get into today. The point is, the place that the guy that ordered Jesus' execution is likely from also gave us a word that a certain legendary demon is named after, whom himself gave name to another legendary demon we're all a lot more familiar with, and we know all this because Gerald decided to use a very specific adjective when describing the deal he made with Black Doom. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go get my history degree with all the shit this series makes me research.
Maria's illness couldn't be treated on her.
So, if you've only ever interacted with the video games and nothing else, this is the very first time Maria's illness, or the fact that she's sick at all, is brought up. What I think is so strange about this is that Maria's disease has been part of her character since her inception, but the only time you would have known that in anything relating to the game continuity is if you read her bio in the Japanese exclusive Sonic Adventure 2 Perfect Guide. The thing is, Shadow's entire existence is based off of Maria's neuroimmune deficiency syndrome, and yet, why is it that we're only learning about this in game form 23 years after her debut? Like, we knew Gerald was trying to create the ultimate life form, and we even knew why Black Doom helped Gerald achieve that feat, but when you think about it, until now, we'd never been told why Gerald was creating the ultimate life form. This also flies in the face of what we've known about Maria so far, and this is something that's less this game's fault and more the fault of the translators back in Sonic Adventure 2. The more I learn about Gerald, Maria, and Project Shadow from this game, the more I realize just how terribly translated that game is. In the English dub, Maria asks Shadow what he thinks life on Earth is like, and so for years, most of us thought that Maria had been born and raised on the Ark, which is just simply not true in the original script. In it, she claims that he must really like the planet, presumably because of how often she catches him looking down on it. To further add to inconsistencies in the English version that don't exist in the Japanese version, during Shadow's initial flashback sequence before Radical Highway, you can hear a gunshot ring out before Maria seals Shadow in the escape pod, something you don't hear in the English version, which then made 2005's Shadow the Hedgehog look like it was retconning what happened to Maria, when, again, that was always what had happened to her.
I attempted to develop the ultimate life form as a means to find a cure for Maria. My own experiments reached their frustrating limits. So when that alien warlord reached out to me and offered the miracle of chaos control, I accepted it.
Wait, but didn't the Bio-Lizard use Chaos Control after Shadow defeated it in Adventure 2? Did you teach it how to use Chaos Control after Black Doom had helped you make Shadow? Because otherwise, I don't know how the prototype could use a technique that you didn't have access to yet.
Chaos Control is an amazing ability. The things you can achieve with the power of a Chaos Emerald are truly miraculous. As we learned in your first days of training, you can use it to stop time locally. I've gone on to theorize that two users, acting at the same time, could even open a portal in time. I don't know who else could help you perform such a dual Chaos Control, but it's an interesting theory all the same.
What's so interesting about this is that how could they test out time-stopping abilities like Chaos Control to know how Shadow could use it, but not induce two instances of it to test this theory?
Yes, I know you're part alien. That's not important. What's important is who you are and what you do. I was a little surprised you turned out looking like a hedgehog, though.
Of all the things to not mention in this game in any capacity, that's the one I find the strangest, because Maria's wording suggests that they, or at least she, didn't know what Shadow would end up looking like, and nowhere, not even in Gerald Robotnik's journal, is it stated why Shadow has this form, just that Gerald developed him that way. You would think that for a game that consolidates and reveals so much about Shadow's past, this pretty specific aspect of Shadow would be the one they'd at least mention in passing.
Do you recall our first meeting? It was not long ago. Rouge aided in my release from confinement. Like you, she does not attempt to control my rampages.
What are you talking about? The first time you guys met, that was literally the first thing Shadow tried to do, and Rouge successfully did.
Oh, sure, I've been to Soliana before. Lots of water, lots of great places to fish. Froggy ran off into the palace while we were there. We met the princess. She was very nice.
Big the Cat is the only character in the current continuity that has met Princess Elise? Ugh, fucking Doommorph. What this tutorial fails to mention is that Doommorph has two different functions. One where you swing off of the morph balls, and the other where, if you let go of the control stick underneath one, lets you slingshot straight upwards. It'd be one thing if knowing this was optional and it didn't matter which one you did, if it was just cool that you could do both, but knowing the difference and when to do either is vital, and the game doesn't bother explaining it. Doommorph was my only gripe with this game from a gameplay standpoint, and it's only because it's explained so flippantly. Is it just me, or does the name of the challenge look like it's misspelled because of the red Microsoft Office ass-looking squiggly line? We interrupt Sonic Generations to bring you the first Star World level from Super Mario World.
Man, I don't get why the elemental shields are skills. The shield power-up's been a thing since the first Sonic game. It should have been a regular part of his levels.
Honestly, and especially for the later levels, considering that all of their effects end up as part of his regular moveset down the line.
Wait, they do?
Yeah. There are certain games where he can double jump, like the Thunder Shield lets him do. He can air dash, just like the Flame Shield does. He has his bound attack, which the Aqua Shield lets him perform. And even his homing attack comes from the Gold Shield in 3D Blast.
It does?
Yeah. You didn't know that? He can magnetize rings to himself now too, with a boost, just like the Magnetic Shield used to let him do.
Dude, stop!
How did you not know this? I mean, technically, even the regular shield got adapted into his Insta-Shield move, because even though it's mostly used for attacking, you can still use it to protect yourself from an attack.
Dude!
How did you not know? Okay, to be fair, most of that I did just realize myself as I was writing this, so I can't entirely blame you.
So why exactly do some of the challenges feature our friends as obstacles or opponents? Aren't they supposed to be helping me get out of here? I could do without your bombs in my face, Rouge. Amy Rose, a cheerful girl who loves to help others. Sonic inspired her to be her very best. She's an energetic go-getter. With the help of her Pico Pico hammer and fortune cards, nothing gets in her way. Fortune cards? Like from the Japanese Sonic CD manual?
Well, and the beginning of her story in Sonic Battle, and one of her moves in Chronicles.
Why even mention something so obscure?
Well, they're kind of reworking the characters a bit, and some of it is involved bringing back certain obscure elements from back in the day to make them a lot less obscure. I don't know why they're sticking it in her bio like it matters at all in this game and pretending like it was a huge part of her character back when this game originally released, but whatever.
Wait, huh? Where's the Sega Genesis controller?
Oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing in the console versions of this game. Okay, but would you really have played Sonic 1 in Sonic Generations?
Well, the option would have been nice. Why would you remove certain features just because of the version you're playing if it doesn't impact performance?
Wait. Why is there an option to buy extra lives in this game? The game natively sets the life mechanic off. Why would you want it on? It's such an outdated game mechanic. You know what's so funny about the very first City Escape Act 2 challenge? It's the only one that actively rewards you for not engaging with the respective friend gimmick. I didn't even know that going into the challenge. I just wanted to see if I could get the S rank without using any of the Chow Cream has with her, and because I did that, I got 5 seconds back on the clock per Chow I didn't use, for a total of 25 seconds knocked down, effectively crushing the S rank requirement. You should have seen my reaction to when all those Chow turned into clocks.
Reaction? Don't you mean reaction?
No, I do not! I know the difference between an A and an O! They're not even close to each other on the keyboard! So, how does this work lore-wise exactly? Because remember that thing Sage said in Frontiers about how all the structures on the Starfall Islands, like grind rails and springs and whatnot, are only there because of the effects Sonic's memories had on cyberspace, and in turn how those memories are now being manifested in the real world? I had to look this up, but again, in the Japanese version of the game, Sage mentions that only Sonic and his friends can see these constructs, while she sees nothing. Now, Shadow going to Chaos Island is fascinating to me because it's evident that this is during the events of Frontiers, given all the Eggman tech we see throughout the level, not to mention the volcano, which only erupts once Sonic completes the pinball puzzle. But if this is the case, why is Shadow here? Was he here originally and we were just never told? Is he supposed to be here in Generations at all?
You're finally here, Sonic. I don't know where we are, nor do I care. This is where I finish you, Sonic.
Hold the phone, that's not what happens at all.
Huh?
In Shadow Generations, Sonic and Shadow randomly find each other while Shadow appears outside the City Escape level entrance, which, no idea how he got here when there's no way to access this from his version of White Space. But it's not like Shadow was waiting to encounter Sonic at any point, much less was he looking for him. So, because this cutscene is pre-rendered, the City Escape text reflects the color it would have normally without an S rank, which I find really funny considering how easy it is to get S ranks in Sonic Generations.
I found you, Shadow!
The blue hedgehog, of all places.
You have something I need.
You can wait until my business is finished.
Yeah, sorry, but that Chaos Emerald and I have a date with a monster.
How does Sonic know that Shadow has a Chaos Emerald? Like, yeah, it's the most likely scenario, but it makes sense in Sonic Generations because you can see it in his version of White Space. In this cutscene, it's not like Shadow was flaunting it around or anything.
Nice hustle, but I won this one. So I'm taking the emerald. See ya!
I finally find you, and what do I see? Sonic defeating you. What happened?
I will beat him on equal terms, or not at all.
A fine time for you to be honorable. Now he has the Chaos Emerald.
No, he has a fake emerald.
Okay, first off, how do you know? You yourself said that even you have a hard time telling the difference between the two. Second, what a coincidence that Sonic caught you off guard. You happened to drop just one of the emeralds, which again, caught off guard, so there's no way you could have known or planned for this to happen, and that it just so happened to be the fake emerald. And third, what difference does it make from a writing standpoint that you keep the real emerald while Sonic holds onto the fake one until the end of the game? If it has the same wavelength and properties as a real Chaos Emerald, to the point that not even a machine can tell the difference, not to mention the fact that Sonic can successfully use Chaos Control with it and you know that, you can hold on to the fake one and keep doing your thing no problem. Can't you technically use a weaker version of Chaos Control even without an emerald anyway? With your power enhancing the weaker fake emerald, logically, the effect should be indistinguishable, right? In fact, letting Sonic take the fake emerald when you know he's collecting the Chaos Emeralds and only plan on swapping them at the end is incredibly risky, because in the event that you fail to swap them out without Sonic noticing, the fake emerald is designed to absorb the power of the real ones and explode. I don't understand why this is a plot point when Shadow's taking the L anyway and doesn't need a real Chaos Emerald.
I can't believe you went through all that trouble to give Sonic that fake.
I can't believe it either, but for different reasons.
Oh, you've been to the Ark too? It's pretty neat. What? Yeah, I've been there. Froggy ran off this one time and led me on a crazy adventure. I think I saw you passing by a few times?
Wait, you're telling me that all your optional cameos in the cutscenes of Sonic Adventure 2 are canon as well? I figured your level appearances were, but the only time you would have seen Shadow on the Ark is during the cutscene where Amy reminds Shadow of Maria's wish!
Oh my god, is that why he's here?
I used to have that yellow Chaos Emerald too, you know. Yup, it was my lucky charm for a while. Then one day, Froggy ate it and grew a tail, which led to all sorts of trouble.
Holy shit, it's true. The only other character so closely associated with the damn fourth Chaos Emerald is Big!
Is that why he's here?
You're still not convinced about changing your destiny. Think of it this way. If you change our past, it would rewrite your future. All your triumphs, all you've learned, all the good you have done would cease to be.
Well, Silver seems to be able to do that with no regard to his own existence. I think saving your lives would yield similar results. Is it just me? Or does the name of the challenge look like it has a grammatical error because of the blue Microsoft Office-ass looking squiggly line?
Ugh, this challenge sucks.
Yeah, could you imagine if Shadow Generations had a swinging mechanic that was this unintuitive? Wait, are the Eggtons being seduced by Rouge blowing kisses at them? Did Eggman design them with an attraction feature? Why?
You're doing great,
Whoa!
Sonic!
Wait, shouldn't that have ripped apart the space-time continuum or something?
Yeah, you'd think, especially considering that in the classic version of the Restoring the World cutscene from earlier, classic Sonic and classic Tails fist bump in the air. two characters from different eras can touch, but two different characters from the same era can't?
You're doing great, Sonic. You mean, you're doing great, Sonics.
No, that's correct. I mean, they are one and the same. You're doing great Sonic can apply to both of them.
Plus, who's to say one's not doing better than the other?
Yeah, who's to say?
You guys have your work cut out for you.
An adventure's no fun if it's too easy.
That's not true. This game's easy as hell, and I have fun every time I play it.
Yeah, Sonic 06 and Secret Rings would like a word with you.
Ah, okay. I guess the same character from two different eras can touch as well. That's good to know.
Welcome, Shadow. The ultimate game of Shadow Tag.
Wouldn't Shadow playing Shadow Tag just be regular tag? In fact, wouldn't Mephiles playing Shadow Tag just be regular tag?
I own much to I don't know what you're talking about, but I will crush you all the same.
You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are.
Is that the fucking Phantom Manta from Super Mario Sunshine? Sent by Shadow Mario? Huh. This really is the ultimate game of Shadow Tag. Did he just do the Sonic 06 Silver Kick on Mephiles? Alright, that's it. Everybody go home. There's nothing to see here. This game is perfect. Wait, huh? Where'd this new Scepter of Darkness come from?
As much as I dislike relying on others, I'm grateful for your aid. The creature was beyond my skills.
I mean, I guess. You didn't really have time to try and fight it.
I have learned from our last encounter.
I don't think you have. Spoiler alert, but you literally have the same weakness, and you lose to an arguably weaker version of Shadow. While I love Gerald's explanations for both the places Shadow hasn't been to yet and an enemy he technically never encountered, I think it's weird that he doesn't give the same explanation for both. I mean, sure, Mephiles' dialogue unquestionably states his status as not being part of the timeline, but who's to say that the places Shadow hasn't experienced yet are necessarily from the future? Kingdom Valley, for example, is another location from a past alteration, but if that had been our example, that wouldn't be a place from Shadow's future. Not to mention however it is that Chaos Island fits into all this.
It seems my theory was correct, and time can heal itself to a degree. So long as the pivotal moments in history are restored, the rest will find equilibrium.
Well, that's a cool explanation and all, but Mephiles himself said that he was erased from the timeline, and while I understand that in the strictest sense Sonic 06 did happen, I would imagine that everything else leading up to these events don't require anything from the Soliana incident to happen again. What's the point? If it supposedly never happened, how can it be a pivotal moment in history? Not to mention, a lot of this is not happening the way it did originally. How does that factor into the timeline restoration? Also, considering that we went straight from Sonic Heroes to Sonic 06, are you meaning to imply that the events from Shadow the Hedgehog were largely unimportant to the timeline? I mean, really, we know that at least a few levels had to have happened, namely Westopolis and The Last Way, but we never visit a location from that game. Alien invasion that almost destroyed humanity and Shadow rediscovering his past? F it, take it or leave it. It's not like the timeline literally hinges on him leaving his past behind him so that he can help destroy a super-dimensional sun god that almost destroyed said timeline.
Shadow, I don't want you to listen to Black Doom. You may share his DNA, but he is not your true family. Your real family loves you and wants you to be safe and happy. That's us, Shadow. Me and Grandfather.
Hate to be that guy, Maria, but technically it's Grandfather and me.
The food on the Ark is okay, but I really miss the cooking on Earth. Before I got sick, I went with my family to Spagonia. The food there was amazing. Have you found a favorite food? All I've ever seen you have is coffee.
Wait a second. I thought you said that the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog was a headcanon. Is Rice Bingle canon or not?
Black Arms weaponry is organic in origin. This means they grow their firearms. Shadow, you are part Black Arms. Therefore, I surmise you should be able to turn your hand into a gun.
Well, you can do that. Are you part Black Arms, Omega? Diogenes' featherless chicken definition of a man-head ass.
No, Froggy doesn't talk. I just understand what he's thinking and feeling. He's so lively, He's always running off and getting us into trouble. Huh? How can I be sure I'm finding the same frog every time? I just know it in my heart.
Oh my god! Have you been chasing different frogs this whole time?
Well, not in Heroes. We know that has to be the same Froggy because Neo Metal Sonic copies his Chaos data.
Okay, what about every other time?
Look at that robust color. It's coming along nicely. It's only a matter of time before we get home.
You say that, but how much time has it even been? Everything stopped in this void.
Yes.
It's all relative, old chum. Besides, we don't age. We have all the time in the world.
Oh, yeah. So I guess there's no rush to finish the rocket.
Oh no, I very much want to get out of here. Hurry, time's a-wasting.
It's literally not. No. See, it's different because we're in an open zone now. It's different, not the same. No, you misunderstand. It's different because we have the boost in this one. It's so different. Oh, but I don't have 50 rings. Oh, you're just gonna give them to me. All right. No. See, it's different because it's Act 2 in this one. When has this one ever had an Act 2, huh? It's different. You know, for all the black arms there are, I'm surprised we never saw some of them in Shadow the Hedgehog. Like, where were the black flashes or the black machos on the Black Comet? This blimp is fast as f***. Is it the fastest thing not alive?
Thanks, Sonic. You know, I got a hunch someone or something is controlling that monster.
I know that you're like the best detective ever, but you've been trapped in limbo for quite a while. How could you ever figure that out? Also, why did they bother re-recording certain lines? That's the exact same thing he says in the original. Why not just use the original take?
If you think that's bad, Vector doesn't just have the same dialogue as in the original. He has the same dialogue no matter who you save him as.
Someone has to be behind all of this. We gotta take him out, Sonic.
I don't get why Vector thinks this. Like, why does he have that suspicion when it could just be a random monster doing this for virtually no reason?
When you were first created, the potential of your power was too great. I fashioned those limiter rings to keep your power in check. Given how you are now, you must not remove them. You would likely explode.
I don't get how you quantify this. Like, you made him too powerful and then retroactively made a device to limit that power. That part I understand, but what exactly happened that made you realize that his powers needed to be limited? And what exactly do the limiter rings do to hold him back? And that's assuming this happened after he showed signs of his power. If you could monitor his power before you awakened him, why not just make him less powerful?
Okay, who put springs in the middle of a damn forest?
You know, for a level called Planet Wisp, it sure is cool how we only ever use 2 of them, 1 per hedgehog.
Hey, you look different.
Charmy Bee.
I'm a free bee. Free bee. Free bee. Whee!
Charmy Bee. I just did that one.
There's a modern version of it too. I've been holding on to this one, but in the birthday party cutscene, there's a hero chow that goes with Vector to Rooftop Run, and a dark chow that goes with Charmy to Planet Wisp, but neither of those chow are found in those respective levels. Both of them actually end up in Green Hill Zone, the hero chow in Act 1 and the dark chow in Act 2.
What? But part of the effect of the original Flame Shield was that you could destroy enemies that you mid-air dash into.
Yeah, and I think it's still supposed to work in this game, but only sometimes? I'm just so used to it working the way it does in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and it does not feel the same in this game. You know, it's so bold of them to use music from Knuckles' Chaotix when they've neglected to re-release it on anything.
Wow, how do you know what music this is from? Have you played every single Sonic game?
I actually have.
What? Why?
New Sonic game was coming out.
What? Okay, what the f***? Sonic 06 never happened!
Well, okay, I mean, yes, it did. The events of it were erased from the timeline, but that doesn't mean the events never happened. If the events were erased, someone had to erase them, you know?
Okay, well, even if it did happen, this fight never did. Silver and Sonic were never in Crisis City at the same time.
Yeah, you got me there. Even Sonic Team must have known the Soliana fight was ass. The hard challenge for Kingdom Valley Act 2 was giving me such shit because the game was being finicky on when it would let me wall jump. I swear, there were times I would push the button as soon as I landed on the opposite wall and Shadow would just hang there like a dumbass and I'd die. Wait, hold on. How can Sonic quick step while on a board?
Oh, this challenge sucks.
The Endless Boost one? I S-ranked it on my first try.
You what?
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Okay, but you remember how much you struggled with it when you were younger, right?
Yeah. In fact, I thought I was going to struggle with it this time around too, because the game never tells you that part of the endless boost skill is that you're unable to collect any rings, even when you clearly see yourself doing it. Their purpose in this challenge is mostly to guide you so you know where to go and when to jump, but otherwise they're pointless because they don't add to your boost gauge anyway, and no matter what, you'll die if you get hit. Just would have been nice to know that going into the challenge.
Oh, but we can agree this is the worst one, right?
Pick up the beat? I mean, it's not that bad.
Okay, now you're joking.
No, genuinely. So long as you're tracking where the note's heading each time, beating this one is easy because you can knock the note back whenever. S-ranking it is the tough part because you have to do it quickly, and losing track of the note is easy to do, especially when you have to turn around to hit it. Is this a Captain Planet reference? How timely.
Well, Sonic is a 90s icon, as was Captain Planet.
Okay, but how many kids playing this version of the game do you think are gonna get the reference?
Yeah, alright, fair enough.
Also, the reference is wrong, because it's not with your powers combined, it's by your powers combined.
Why do you know that?
Dude, I do my research. Just because they're silly comedy videos doesn't mean I want to get things wrong. Wait, is Silver Shadow T-posing?
Time for a change of pace! Time for a change of pace! Time for a change of pace! Time for a change of pace!
I do believe it is time for a change of pace.
How does this keep happening to Eggman? No way, I can't believe this. You know what they say, the more the merrier. Time for a change of pace. You'd think repeating his lines so often is on purpose.
I recalibrated everything! This was supposed to be my time!
How is it possible that every time you redesign this thing, it keeps getting worse?
What do you mean?
Well, in Unleashed, when it was just the Ultra Hyper Prototype 1, Sonic defeated it as the Werehog, a physically stronger version of Sonic. In Generations, just regular old modern Sonic is able to defeat it, and in Forces, the Egg Dragoon Mark II is defeated by Classic Sonic.
Classic Sonic fights the Egg Dragoon? Did they make another Classic Sonic game?
They sure did! And then 3 months later, they released the game where Classic Sonic fights the Egg Dragoon.
Wait, I'm confused. Sonic Forces isn't the Classic Sonic game?
Don't worry about it. No, see, it's different because we have Doom powers in this one. We fight a boss in this one. Very unique.
This isn't good.
You're telling me, dude, I have to use Doom Morph now. What in the Resident Evil? This is still a Sonic game, right? I love that the new and improved Devil Doom has an even bigger f***me eyeball.
Chaos control. Your future is already decided. We will be...
So, I've neglected to talk about this until now, but the game has a bunch of QuickTime events, particularly at the end of boss fights, to make the player still feel at least somewhat involved in the gameplay during more cinematic segments. The problem is that 9 times out of 10, you can just do nothing and the game proceeds as normal. You're not punished for missing it, you don't have to perform it again. I mean, even offering a cooler cinematic would have been a better incentive to actually engage with the QTE, but as it stands, you could get rid of them and nothing would change.
Nice work. Perfect timing, too. Sonic is getting ready to confront the monster that trapped us here. If I'm going to switch the emeralds without him noticing, we have to do it now.
Okay, but how do you plan on doing that? Sonic has the Chaos Emeralds with him. The only time you could have switched them was during the part where he's placing the emeralds inside the cogs right before the Time Eater fight, and I just don't know how you did that without anyone noticing, particularly because you would have had to do so while another emerald was being placed on another cog, because otherwise none of the cogs Sonic needs to turn to reach the rest of the cogs to place the other emeralds would be turning. Cog. Nope, semantically satiated.
Professor, what's happening?
Without Black Doom's influence, the time anomaly is beginning to heal. We are returning to our own point in time.
Wait, that doesn't make sense though. Black Doom, as far as we know, had nothing to do with the Time Eater. In fact, Black Doom was returning on his own even before the Time Eater did anything, and his return was accelerated through the Black Moon's existence in white space alongside Shadow's adventure. Considering that none of Sonic's friends returned to their respective point in time until after the Time Eater's defeated, why would defeating Black Doom restore you guys? That would mean that you guys are here because of Black Doom, not because of the Time Eater, but as far as we know, Black Doom didn't know any of this was going to happen. The most messed up part of all this, if we're to take the events of Sonic Forces into account, funnily enough considering their place in front of Sunset Heights, is that them returning to their own point in time means that they likely remember all this. As far as we could tell, Classic Sonic wasn't weirded out by seeing the modern characters again, though the idea was that he was from another dimension in that game, so who knows what the rules here are. But considering that they have a rough idea of the things Shadow has gone through, it's kind of hard to believe that things still end up the way they do. Not so much on Maria's end, but certainly for Gerald. I mean, think about it. He now knows that the Shadow he meets in this game fought Black Doom at least once already, meaning the Black Comet must have returned close to Earth, meaning it must be at least 50 years into the future. Granted, Gerald doesn't know the circumstances behind Black Doom's defeat, but he designed the Eclipse Cannon to destroy the Black Arms. It could be as simple an explanation as he went insane and wasn't thinking about it, but if he remembers the events of this game, what was the point in reprogramming the Eclipse Cannon in Shadow's memory if he knows that, in the future, Shadow ends up remembering everything and the world is safe because of him? He never once, the entire time he was imprisoned and forced to finish Shadow, stopped to consider that this was probably the case in 50 years' time? Damn it, Marta! Your name doesn't have an accent again! Look at Luis Gonzalez Areas! It's the same surname! Both should have accents!
Dr. Robotnik?
Nobody calls me that anymore.
Not even Classic Tales calls you that anymore. Literally in the last scene, he says, "You're Eggman," so I don't understand why that change was made, especially when it was known that this dialogue would stay in the rewrite.
Also, not a sin, but I do wonder what he says in Japanese.
Oh boy.
What?
So this has always been one of the biggest misconceptions on our channel. That seemingly innocuous question on our part leads into an actual sin, but because we opened the statement with not a sin, people think that the separate question which spawned from the original one was part of the sin too. In Japanese, Classic Tales exclaims, "There's two of Eggman?" And Classic Eggman replies, "You seem surprised." But the actual sin was the part of him accepting the moniker of Eggman well before the events of Sonic Adventure 2, and about the ramifications this would have on the timeline, which, in retrospect, there probably wouldn't be many, considering that most of his mechs are still named the Egg something or other. The real sin here is that they're surprised about this at all. If modern Eggman is controlling the Time Eater, and you guys have been working together with your modern selves, why is it even remotely a surprise that Classic Eggman would be as well?
What was that Tails voice? You sound like someone who doesn't know how to do a Mickey Mouse impression.
Well, guess what? You're a grown-ass man. Do you want me to chop off your balls so you can more accurately sound like an 8-year-old kid jackass? Yeah, I didn't think so!
After Sonic ruined my interstellar amusement park, I stumbled upon a dark primordial essence. I discovered it possessed abilities I've long desired to harness for myself. Namely, that it could travel through the dimension of time, so I decided to utilize its marvelous capabilities and rewrite the past.
Okay, but how did you find out you could do this? Because you scanned it with your glasses? So you just have a sensor that detects if something can travel through time? And even so, how do you control something like that? You said yourself that it's a primordial essence, so did you just tell it what to do and it did it? That seems rather Diabolus Ex Machina-ish.
In order to perfect it, I needed the help of somebody as smart as I am. The only person that smart is me.
Well, sure, but you have to remember that this Eggman is also less experienced than you are, and at least 2/3 of this game are from points in the timeline that he's unfamiliar with. Sure, teaming up with a younger version of yourself might give you a fresher set of eyes, but it doesn't mean you have twice the brain power. It's just the same brain twice. Honestly, even the Sonics are kind of guilty of this too. Their efforts aren't exactly adding up, they're both doing effectively the same thing, just from different perspectives.
Yeah, it really makes you think, huh?
Uh-huh. What's that supposed to mean?
Well, based on that logic, Classic Sonic could have done this all by himself, right?
Well, no, because modern Sonic needs to get the emeralds from Shadow, Silver, Perfect Chaos, and the Egg Dragoon.
Yeah, but you said yourself that Classic beats the Egg Dragoon in the future, right? Who's to say he can't do it now? Who's to say he can't win any of those fights?
Well, that's not the point. Modern has abilities that are necessary to beat those characters. He needs the boost in the homing attack.
True, but the homing attack is an ability Classic can get in this game, and as we see in the ending, he's already learning how to boost. But a Gold Shield and the Spin Dash would be decent substitutes, right?
Hold on, add this into the counter. I mean, in theory, but what about everything he's learned and experienced?
What are you talking about? Sonic doesn't change or grow. He's a static protagonist. His personality here isn't much different than it was 10 years ago. The only difference between Classic and Modern is that Classic doesn't talk.
Yeah, and maybe there's a good reason for that.
That was just to soften you up.
You mean that didn't kill them?
Your feet.
On your feet?
Hey, it's better than you got this, Sonic. Yeah, but if they were gonna rewrite it, they should have used the Japanese version where he says, "Show me what you're made of."
You're tougher than that. Come on.
On your feet.
You're not beat yet.
You face worse, Sonic.
Focus your spirit.
We're right behind you. I believe in you, Mr. Sonic. Embrace the emeralds.
Harness their power, Sonic.
You have to win, Sonic, like you've done time and again.
Are none of you going to help him?
Time to scramble some Eggman. Supersonic style.
The Sonic 4 music?
Hey, the music's not that bad, and I get that Sonic 4 was a very recent game at the time, but yeah, they could have used something more iconic. I mean this with no offense toward you, but there is genuinely no reason to switch to Classic Sonic during this fight.
Oh, none taken. I don't know why you would either.
Well, you can still boost in 2D mode, not that the game ever tells you that, and hit the time meter from this perspective.
Wait, really?
Yeah, but I kind of agree that there's technically never a reason to switch to Classic Sonic. The 3DS version of this fight at least had dedicated sections for both Classic and Modern.
It did?
Yeah, dude, this fight is way better in the 3DS version.
I believe it. I mean, it can't get much worse than this.
You're telling me. I've beaten this fight, S-ranked it, S-ranked the hard mode, gotten the you can't touch this achievement, and 13 years later, I still feel like I don't understand how this fight works. Sometimes I'll be right up next to his giant glowing f***me orb, but apparently I'm still not boosting correctly enough to hit it?
Time's going to slow down. The flow of time will be restored.
What was the point of that? It's not like we can get hit and our ring depletion slows down too.
I'm convinced that the only reason that move exists is for him to set up his homing shots to prevent you from getting the you can't touch this achievement. It's literally pointless otherwise.
Sonic, combine your power.
It's live and learn!
No, it's just a tease. They play the Sonic 4 music again.
God damn it! Something I don't understand is, why weren't Silver and Shadow at the party to begin with?
If you would be so kind as to explain, brooding and ominous Charai 5 from the future. It will be my pleasure, most anxious and derivative Charai 5 also from the future. Shadow was supposed to be here out of a favor Rouge did for him in helping him get a rocket because he, or Gun, or both, sensed or detected that there was a life form on the space colony Ark. Somehow Black Doom returned, and then the time meter sent us all to white space. Wait, Gun?
Black Doom?
Trust me, it's been a day.
Well, okay. And I guess Silver's excuse is that he's from the future. But can I ask you guys something?
Sure. Yeah, what's up?
Silver knows who Sonic is in this game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, clearly.
Meaning that he's from the Rivals games, right?
Yes, sir. Wouldn't have met Sonic otherwise.
Okay, and we see that Blaze and Cream know each other too, alongside a reference to Marine the Raccoon on a poster in City Escape, and Blaze talking about having something similar to Red Star Rings in her dimension too, meaning that the Rush games have to be canon as well, right?
Yes, sir. The logic on Blaze's origins is a bit fuzzy, but overall that's correct.
So is Eggman Nega...
Ooh. Ah, don't say that name! Trying to get us canceled over here.
Sorry. Is he Eggman's descendant, or is he Eggman's dimensional counterpart?
Well, that's easy. Would you be so kind as to explain? No, we're not doing that. The official stance is that he's from the future, but if that's the case, his motivations across both games don't make any sense. Blaze is somehow from this dimension, sealed in a different one by Silver in 06, alongside the Flames of Disaster, which should have been reverted because Solaris was blown out, meaning that Iblis doesn't exist, meaning there's no reason for Blaze being sent to another dimension, but somehow has always been a princess that protects the Soul Dimension. Eggman's counterpart is a character that only exists so you can conveniently have two Eggmen or a twist villain that is still Eggman. The mid-2000s were a dark time in Sonic storytelling.
I'll admit, you weren't half bad, Sonic.
Half bad? Are you kidding?
Wait, huh? Didn't she used to smack him into the tree? And are those Chow at the birthday party? Right? Is it bad that I kind of like some of these changes? Right? Damn, Silver, chill out. No one's gonna take your fucking chili dog. Okay, admittedly, that change is a little unnecessary. It adds nothing to the scene, and if you were gonna make him hold something, you could at the very least loosen his grip a little.
It was great teaming up with you, or me. Maybe this will fast track you to learning some new tricks in the future. Wait, I mean, past. Ugh, time travel's a chore.
Did you have to write a line that was like 3 times as long as the original? Also, you're not fooling anybody. You didn't reanimate the lip syncing to accommodate for the new voice lines. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up earlier too. It's especially egregious because they added new dialogue for when Modern Sonic rescues his friends. They did? Right? So why didn't they reanimate the lip syncing? They were already adding new animations anyway, right?
This isn't the first time that something like this happens in the series, but how do you learn something by just watching someone else do it?
Hey, Sonic! Enjoy your future! It's gonna be great!
Oh, that's our cue. What are they waving at? The portal closed already. Huh? Did they not change these credits? What do you mean? Well, Pontac and Graf are still credited as the writers, which would be true for the story, but not for the script. That would be Ian Flynn now. Not to mention, Chika Otsuka is still credited even though his lines were redubbed by Kotaro Nakamura after Otsuka's passing 10 years ago. In fact, the English cast is completely intact, even though half of these voice actors aren't in this version of the game. Then you have a credit for Kyle A. Bear, and Big's not even physically in this game. Well, not this half of it, at least. What? She's got an accent! Woo! Oh, what the f***? Let me guess, she doesn't have an accent in Shadow Generations? No. Despite the fact that other people's names are properly accented? Yes. That sounds like a sin to me, my friend.
Well, I know it was one of us. Shut up and keep looking.
I hear sound effects, but I don't hear arguing.
You know, you'd think that with the rewrite, they'd include new English dialogue of them bickering here to fill in the gesturing silence. Yeah, like they do in the Japanese version.
Why do I hear wind? Isn't this place supposed to be empty?
Is that wind? Why would there be wind here? Isn't this place supposed to be devoid of space?
Don't get too self-righteous. It'll be your plan pretty soon. I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my life to forgetting it.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Don't get too self-righteous. It'll be your plan pretty soon. I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my life to forgetting it.
Breaking the fourth wall.
I heard that. Do we ever win?
If you did, neither of you would be in this predicament.
Do we ever win?
Oh, come on, Robotnik. You know that's a silly question. Yeah, if you did, neither of you would be here right now.
That depends on your definition of win. Beating Sonic. Oh, well then no.
Also, if you count Riders as being canon, I do, I just like to think that it happens in the future, then yeah, you do win eventually. It's just that your prize is a crappy carpet.
That depends on your definition of win. Beating Sonic. Oh, well then no.
Just give it 6 more years. Oh, well, that shouldn't count. They don't know that yet, but we do.
That doesn't give me much hope. Maybe I'll go back and get my teaching degree.
Eggman was gonna be a teacher? How do you go from teacher to mad scientist trying to take over the world? What happened?
That doesn't give me much hope. Maybe I'll go back and get my teaching degree. That's not a bad idea. I've always enjoyed telling people what to do.
Yeah, but there's one hell of a gap between teaching and world domination, and there's a gap in between both of those and wanting to build an amusement park. Yeah, what exactly radicalized you so much? Also, how did they end up escaping white space? Is that ever explained in Shadow Generations? Oh yeah, so there's this side quest with Orbot and Cubot where you have to find 80 machine parts for them around white space, and I was holding off on the last bushel, pile, whatever you call a bunch of parts until you were there with me so we could figure it out together. Oh, nice of you to wait for me to see what Orbot and Cubot are doing and not the rest of the game. Don't be shitty, come on. Oh, a rocket. It's pretty ironic that after abandoning them in space, Orbot and Cubot are the ones who managed to save Eggman.
Oh joy! Oh rapture! The rocket is finally complete!
There's a little flicky bird! It looks just like a clock!
Egad! It's because it is a clock!
What? Wait, so they don't end up saving the Eggman in the end? How do they escape white space? You had me looking for 80 of those f***ing things for a clock? And why is there a rocket-shaped clock in white space anyway? Why were all those different collectibles strewn about in a place where nothing is supposed to exist? I don't know, man. Why is there a collection room in Sonic's white space? Oh, yeah. The collection room. There's one more thing I think we should see together. Why is Shadow the Hedgehog listed before Sonic Heroes in Shadow's history? CMD Abraham Tower? Who's that? Oh, that's the gun commander from Shadow the Hedgehog. And I guess you wouldn't know that if you've never read the Archie comics or played a version of this game that doesn't include Dark Beginnings. Well, unless you know that CMD stands for Commander, which is kind of on me.
I have christened it the Ark. It shall be a vessel to pass on the value of life and peace to the next generation. And while most of the megastructure will be hidden within the base planetoid, I may have gone a little self-indulgent.
Yeah, if you
in
consider
the design.
plastering your fucking likeness on the face of it, sure, it's a little self-indulgent. Looks like Rivals 2 is canon. Yeah, but wasn't the portal to the Ifrit's dimension only able to be opened with all 7 Chaos Emeralds? That must mean that Gerald had access to all 7 at one point, right? How? And why were they eventually lost? The gun raid? How'd they end up losing the emeralds?
I have uncovered a most interesting specimen from the warehouse. It was first recovered by my son, who became quite the archaeologist.
Wait, but didn't your other son become a roboticist? Why would the archaeologist just leave Emerald in a warehouse? Wouldn't he have wanted to know more about the big-ass robot he discovered?
Despite everything, Maria remains the most positive person in the room. Most of the staff here left their families back on Earth, so I worried she'd feel lonely. Instead, she's become the adoptive daughter of every researcher on the Ark. Moreover, she's become like a big sister to the Ark's happy little accident over the past few years.
I'm assuming that redaction is Abraham Tower, especially given the attached photo, but that doesn't make any sense. What do you mean? The commander says that Maria was like a sister to him in Shadow the Hedgehog. Well, right, but in Shadow Generations, Maria says that Abe's parents brought him aboard the Ark, and Gerald's journal suggests that his parents got pregnant and presumably gave birth to him on the Ark. So, which is it? Did he accidentally sneak aboard the Ark with his parents? Because that's not what a happy little accident typically means.
I've begun developing a basic AI-driven apparatus that can generate cohesion in water and produce controlled shapes for basic actions. I've told the top brass these can turn any body of water into an autonomous weapon. Deep down, I'm hoping it can be used as easily deployed search and rescue units. Imagine a flood turned back on itself to aid those in the rubble.
Instead, your artificial chaos became some of the most annoying enemies to fight in this series. Up until now, the entire term Chaos Emerald had been redacted, so why is only the word Chaos redacted here?
I found a region in the Ark that should be able to safely house the prototype while we continue our experiments.
Found a region? You designed the damn thing, didn't you? What was the cannon's core being used for before then?
Wanted me to craft a herald for his future invasion.
So, Gerald knew that Black Doom wanted to invade the Earth and harvest humans, right? I don't understand how these two came to an agreement. The whole reason Gerald was developing Project Shadow was to create a life form that could preserve life, and while it's possible that he lied to Black Doom about the project's purpose, why would Black Doom think that telling a human what his plans are would result in a human helping him? I can understand that Gerald would accept, planning to double-cross him later, and it would make sense if Black Doom lied about his intentions as well, planning to double-cross Gerald in the future, and Gerald just found out about it later, but when the premise is,
"Hello, alien warlord inside a comet I decided to make contact with. I'm trying to develop a life form that can bring hope to humanity by curing diseases that currently have no cures. Could you help me in this endeavor?"
Certainly human whom I would otherwise eat, but has proven to have intellect to genetically craft superior life forms. As it so happens, I've been searching for a warrior to do my bidding and allow us a way to teleport to your planet in order to use the life forms there as an energy source.
That's not morally reprehensible to me at all. I'm desperate.
My race and I all share the same blood and act as a hive mind, allowing me to reform in my spawn so I can never truly die. With this aid in your objective.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Terrific. Also, I happen to notice that you are in possession of a most unique stone that we know as a Chaos Gem.
Oh, you mean the Chaos Emerald? Why, yes, I have one of the 7.
Excellent. With this creature you need help developing, be able to retrieve all 7 of them and bring them to me so we may fulfill our objective.
Why, I see no reason it couldn't. With my genius design and your superior genetics, this could be the ultimate life form.
And you promise it will do that for me?
Yes, I promise.
Splendid. Truly splendid. Why does it look like a hedgehog?
The top brass still are unsatisfied. The Gazoid isn't big enough or flashy enough for them. Fine. I've developed a weapon I'm calling the It taps directly into the Ark's central reactor to produce an unethical degree of firepower. They'll love it. However, to use it on any target on Earth would destroy the world. They'll never be able to fire it. Checkmate.
Gerald, you want Gun to keep funding Project Shadow, right? So far, you've given them nothing they're satisfied with, and now you're fucking around, basically caught in 4K, making deals with an alien warlord and giving them a weapon they can literally never use. If you want a surefire way for them to shut you down, this is it.
I'm also researching chaos control to see if I can gain an understanding of it before Shadow awakens. The power to stop time and space is incredible, and I don't want him to have to try and learn its intricacies on his own.
So you could induce chaos control by using the time switches, meaning that your dual chaos control didn't just have to be a theory. And if not chaos control, at least you learned how to develop something that yielded its time-stopping effects without the Chaos Emeralds. So why exactly did you need to develop a life form that could interface with the Chaos Emeralds? I don't understand why there's a question on if this is entry number 670 or number 706. Entry number 670 was literally on the last page that we still have. Also, you're talking about the Gazoid being back on the Ark, but does that mean that Gun just gave the Gazoid back? I mean, I understand that they wouldn't have had much use for him in his current state, but damn man, he's not a defective toy you get from Walmart. You can't just return the thing.
The researchers somehow managed to subdue the Gazoid and seal it away. Luckily, it only had one torment installed.
Speaking of giving things back, that's another thing. How did you guys manage to get that Chaos Emerald back? In battle, we only got them back once Emerald was destroyed. What's this?
I don't know.
I thought I did everything.
Wait, the Kingdom Hearts 4 ring.
The what? At the beginning of the game, after I beat the first level, a giant ring showed up. Remember in Frontiers how you have to enter one to access the Final Horizons Another Story? Oh. Yeah? I think there may be one last thing we need to do.
Where am I now? Is that me? Huh? I've taken on another form?
And another voice! Is that Keanu goddamn Reeves? Well, his middle name is actually Charles, but yes. So, wait, we're still Game Shadow though, right? In the world of movies, Game Shadow is taking on Movie Shadow's form, which means there's still another Movie Shadow here, right? Dude, I don't know what the rules are. When have I ever?
Beautiful city. Looks like how Maria described the Earth.
What are you talking about? You live on Earth! Okay, yeah, but Maria lived on Earth over 50 years ago. Yes, and this is Tokyo over 50 years after Maria was last on Earth. I doubt she saw anything like this. Not to mention, that's a really weird line because Shadow knows that he's in a different dimension, but is only now acknowledging that this is how Maria described the Earth? What, was she from another dimension? Yeah, I thought this line was weird at first too, and was maybe reflective of something Movie Shadow would say, but that doesn't work either because Maria and Shadow don't really ever talk about the Earth. In fact, they both live on the Earth in the third movie. Wait, is that the Westopolis music? Yup. So, no Westopolis in the base game? No Shadow the Hedgehog levels at all in the game. Unless you count Space Colony Arc, which uses Final Rush's music. Final Rush? Not Final Chase? Final Rush. So, not even a version of the Black Comet? Nope. And Radical Highway is the last level, by the way. It's what? Huh. If I had a nickel for every time Shadow destroyed a gun helicopter that he was engaging in combat with that he had to rip the door out of so that the soldier piloting it could escape and parachute out of, I would have 2 nickels. And unless I'm playing the PlayStation version, I would think I only had 1 nickel. Is that the Tokyo Skytree? Huh, so that's why it was in the credits. Remember that video we did about the Cream side story in Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020? Yeah. Nothing, I just really love that video and want more people to watch it.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was the coolest results screen I think I've ever seen. I gotta reverse them again. Again? How many times have you done it already? This would be my third time, fourth with one you did.
I have no time for this. I have to complete my mission.
I thought your mission was complete. Well, I'm guessing that because the ring gate appears right after the first level, that's technically when you're supposed to play this, or at any point before the end of this game, but the DLC also came out over a month after this game released, so it's likely you played this level after you'd already beaten the game, making the line just feel out of place. I don't understand why the game considers the Tokyo level to be in Act 1 when there's only one act, aside from its respective challenges. Why not just name the level Tokyo and replace the Act 1 with a bracketed extra? Well, it probably has to do with how the game is already set up, and making it that way would have required a bunch of extra steps for the sake of a simple aesthetic change that isn't the end of the world. But I agree, it would have been a much better way of displaying it than to suggest that there's an Act 2 when there isn't. This is what the title screen looks like? Oh my god, this is just discount Super Mario 3D World. Well, plus Bowser's Fury.
That shot will track you. It looks like a homing shot.
It's like that shot chases you.
That's a homing shot.
Looks like a homing shot. That